Broadcasting live. It's America's longest running talk show on computers. It's Computer America, bringing you the biggest names in technology with guest interviews, new products, and your emails. Listen live at computeramerica.com on any device around the world. Email the show at live@computeramerica.com or find us on social media. Be sure to check out our website for contests, giveaways, show notes, live video stream, podcasts, and more. You're listening to Computer America.
Hello and welcome into the Computer America Show. We are the nation's longest running, nationally syndicated radio talk show on computers and technology. I hope all of you are having a fantastic day because we have a great show lined up for you where the entire program is dedicated to video games. And, that can take the form of console, PC, handheld, doesn't matter. And we're going to throw a bit of just general entertainment in there as well. But it's going to be everything that makes you, kind of unwind after a long day of doing whatever it is that you happen to be doing. And hey, sit back and relax and enjoy some Computer America. So joining us as usual on our Gamer Tuesday is the one, the only Mr. Cory Galliher, and we'll bring him on in just a moment. But he writes for, of course, Popzara, the Well-Read Mage, and a few other publications. If you want to find out more about him, you can check out the show notes. And speaking of the show notes, that is where you'll find everything from links to any videos, articles, anything and everything that we are going to talk about today will be included at computeramerica.com. Just find the corresponding show notes for today, and you are all set to go. While you're there, also be sure to check out any other articles, reviews that we do, as well as the social media contest brought to you by Logitech, and of course the live video feed, which you can also find over at twitch.tv/Computer America. Now, all that being said, why don't we go ahead and just roll right into, bring our guest on and getting into some of these topics, because a lot has happened. If maybe the game releases haven't been up to snuff, then the gaming news, I think, over the past couple of weeks since Cory's last been on, has more than filled that void. So why don't we go ahead and, as I said before, Cory Galliher, our resident gaming expert, and of course, senior games editor for Popzara. And Cory, how you doing? Welcome back onto Computer America.
I was able to take some time out from my busy schedule of playing Assassin's Creed Odyssey to be here, but I think it'll be worth it. I'm looking forward to this.
I'm sorry that you're not going to get the world first RPG playthrough of that, but I guess we can start there. Obviously, anyone who's listened to the show before with you knows that you write game reviews. You also speak about the industry at large. But let's just go ahead and jump right into the games. And since you brought up Assassin's Creed Odyssey, tell us a bit about the game, where it lands in the franchise, and initial reactions. Because you said don't spoil it. Don't worry, I have not played it, so I can't physically spoil it for you. But just tell us a bit, set up Assassin's Creed Odyssey.
Well, it's good to hear that you're not going to spoil it because you haven't played it yet. I've played a little bit of it. It is good stuff. Assassin's Creed Odyssey is the latest in the franchise. It's been running for a long time now. I want to say probably over 10 years. Mm-hmm. Started out with the original Assassin's Creed where you played as the assassin Altair in ancient Jerusalem. You snuck around, you stabbed people, you do all kinds of assassiny things. It was great. Since then, the series has kind of periodically gone through different historical time frames. The second one was in Renaissance Italy. The third one was in colonial America. The fourth one was Pirates of the Caribbean. all kinds of different really fantastic settings that are explored with a fairly accurate viewpoint. Really great stuff if you're a big history buff or if you like stealth games. So the newest one, Assassin's Creed Odyssey, is essentially a direct sequel to the previous game, which was Assassin's Creed Origins. That one took place in ancient Egypt. This one takes place in ancient Greece. Assassin's Creed Origins was the best game of last year. I will hear no other opinions. It absolutely was a fantastic game, and that's saying something when last year we also had Breath of the Wild, Mario Odyssey, so on and so forth. Wonderful game. Definitely worth playing. This one, Ubisoft was kind enough to send to Popzara a review copy, so I've played a little bit. It's good stuff. Plays a lot like Assassin's Creed Origins. You have this open world setting. You can go and do whatever you want. You can explore. You can collect loot. You can fight enemies. Wonderful stuff. Everything you people out there who like video games, you know it, you love it. It's wonderful. New in this one, we have an RPG system. We have dialogue choices. You can choose the gender of your character, which a lot of people are really excited about because I don't think there's been an Assassin's Creed game in the mainline series that had a female character yet, and now there is. Previously, we had Syndicate with a pair of twins, one male, one female, but this one you can have your main character be a woman and play the entire game as her. So that's fantastic stuff, really great. That's pretty much what I've got. I've gotten to play a couple hours of it so far. It's been excellent. The reviews have been top-notch from what I've seen. They say it's like Origins, but better, which, again, Origins' best game of last year, so that's saying something. Strongly recommended so far.
Yeah, obviously anyone out there watching the video portion, we're showing the E3 trailer that they showed off this year. I mean, graphically, looks like everything that you love, and gameplay-wise, I mean, hey, if they just build upon what they built before, as you said, this game must play very, very fluidly. You know, not a lot of bugs. Everything behaves like you want it to, and really, it just looks like a movie that you kind of sneak through and play through. It looks gorgeous.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, so far it's I'm playing on PC, and I've got a bit of a high-end PC, so I'm not really sure if my experience is going to be representative. But so far, it plays great, looks great, nice and smooth. The graphics you can see are freaking fantastic. I'm not sure. I believe the new ray tracing technology is going to be involved with this one too. So if you have one of the new GTX 2080 Ti cards, you probably got a good shot of trying that too. I'm not 100% on that though.
Yeah, I had heard that a couple upcoming games. I mean, this one was just released. Let's see. I believe. Do you know when this was actually available? Let's see. You got a pre-order. It looks like because it says here it's going to be available October 5th, and you're already playing it. So something fishy is going on here.
So interesting thing about that, and it's actually worth mentioning because this is becoming a more common thing in the industry. Games typically come out on Tuesdays. That's been a long-standing thing. I'm not sure why they do it that way, but it's how they've always done it. However,
I mean, just to cut in here real quick, I mean, that's more of like a carryover from Microsoft. Microsoft always released patches on Tuesdays, so it was like anytime you do like a quote-unquote software update or release, Tuesday is, started by Microsoft is just a tradition, So, I'm sorry, go ahead.
Right. Anyway, so games usually come out on Tuesdays, probably related to Patch Tuesday, as you say. However, we can see that Assassin's Creed Odyssey not coming out until the 5th. That's a Friday. Why is that? Well, the reason for that is that if you pre-order the Gold or Ultimate Editions, meaning at least $100 down on Assassin's Creed Odyssey, you can play today. If you don't, you are waiting until Friday.
Now, and obviously, as you said, most games come out Tuesday. Do you think that they pushed back the original release date, or do you think, this is just kind of a little bit, because allowing people to pre-order the game and play early, that's been going on for years. I mean, I don't particularly think it's a bad thing, especially for a single player. So, well,
as you say, I'm playing the game right now, and it's the full version.
Right. Yeah. And I mean, and again, that really ticks me off when it's some kind of multiplayer where you can gain an advantage through playing. A single player RPG, I have no problem with that. I think a lot of people usually wait until the weekend to game anyways. Not many people have Tuesday nights that they can slave away playing, really chugging through this thing. So I'm kind of okay with that. But all right, so it's available everywhere October 5th if you didn't pre-order, and you can play it now, obviously, if you did. But hey, glad to hear that you're really enjoying it. I mean, obviously, this year has had a lot of really good game releases, and I guess heading into the holidays, to hear that there's another one that that people can look forward to. Also, I'm glad it's not a PlayStation exclusive. So many good games are PlayStation exclusives, and it ticks me off. I'm glad that it's out on a computer.
A great way of addressing that issue: buy a PlayStation.
Yeah, that's what they're hoping. I mean, that is the only real reason to do it. And actually, speaking of exclusives, I think that can actually segue pretty nicely into our first, kind of topic of conversation, where we've mentioned Fortnite here on the show before. If ages 8 to 12 are any indication, it's some kind of virus that is running through people, making them do silly dances. And Fortnite has taken over the gaming world. It's incredibly popular and really dominating huge segments of the market. Now, we've mentioned it before, and we mentioned crossplay, where you can play console to PC, PC to each individual console, but there was always that friction between Xbox and PlayStation. And, years ago, PlayStation extended, the olive branch, and Xbox said no. Now the console demographics have switched, and PlayStation will not make a deal with Xbox, I guess, until a gaming company becomes so dominant with its player base that they can demand. They can, the public pushback that Fortnite players have put on that interplay between Xbox and PlayStation. I don't know if it was the players or the developers or Sony finally relenting and saying, all right, we could do this. Sure, why not? But something changed, hasn't it, Corey?
Absolutely. I mean, when you have this one singular game that just blows other games out of the water in terms of popularity like this, yeah, they are able to do pretty much whatever they please.
They can do whatever they please. When they are scheduled to make $2 billion this year alone, just through this one game, they can bypass the App Store, in the Android market. They can, really make deals that no one else possibly could. But this interplay, now, I had heard different rumors about why it wasn't happening. I think each company puts out their own narrative as to why this isn't happening. Xbox and Microsoft, of course, put out the narrative of, well, that mean evil Sony just won't do it. And then Sony says there are technical hurdles that are just too hard to overcome. And finally, we have this, and I'm not sure if the solution was on Epic Games' side with Fortnite, but what do you think this really means? Like, technical details aside, what do you think this really means for the player base? Because this is something that we've been asking for I'm sure anyone out there who's played Destiny has heard this argument before, but we've asked for this in a number of games. What do you think it finally means that we finally get our wish?
Again, it really comes down to this being an extremely popular game. I don't see this becoming a regular thing with pretty much any other title that's ever going to come out. You're not going to be playing Anthem crossplay with PS4, Xbox One, and PC. It's just not going to happen straight up. It is interesting though, and it's interesting not so much because oh boy, crossplay, the player base can all play together. That's great. It's interesting because it represents something interesting about the industry, which. What that is that as time has gone on, we have steadily seen consoles become more and more and more and more like PCs. Mm-hmm. Essentially, at this point, your PS4, your Xbox One, even your Switch to some extent, your Switch is basically a tablet. Your PS4, your Xbox One, those are PCs. PCs with firmware that prevents you from playing anything but what you are allowed to play on them.
Right.
So, enabling crossplay like this is just another step away from that kind of delineation between them. If they can all play together, then really, why can't they play the same games? Really, why can't they play every game together? Really, what choice does it make which plastic box you choose to buy?
That is a scary proposition for, I think, both Microsoft and Sony, and to kind of a much smaller extent, Switch. Nintendo fills a very different niche, I think, than the other two. Being mobile and being its own exclusive, kind of Nintendo titles exclusive and things like that. But that's a very scary proposition, I think, for Microsoft and Sony, because if people get the idea that it doesn't matter PlayStation or Xbox, what happens if there's a third party that comes in? And I'm going to say Steam Machine. I know that they're defunct by now. No one plays them anymore, or at least no one makes them anymore. Or if they do, it's very, very niche. But if there is an open field where it doesn't matter if you have a PlayStation or an Xbox, why not a third party? Why not another one that can come into the market and start to eat up that market share that was traditionally just Xbox and just PlayStation? Do you think this leads to, obviously there's the PC market, but I think the PC market is still a bit, I don't want to say too complicated for people because people are not that dumb, but it's still a bit, kind of ethereal, I think, the PC market, but just another console. Do you think that gives room for another console to potentially come in if more and more games can be played on any other device? Do you think this gives room for that?
So I don't necessarily know about that. In fact, I might go in the opposite direction. I would say that removing the delineation between consoles, as we're steadily seeing happen with things like this sort of crossplay, that would tell me we'd see fewer consoles eventually. And I think what would happen, if I had to guess, don't quote me on this is just speculation. If I had to guess, I would say what would probably happen is that we would see the Xbox fade away and Microsoft focus entirely on PC. The issue with the PC market, you had suggested that maybe it's too complicated.
Right.
And you were right. I think you were correct. But I wouldn't go with the reason that people are too dumb. Because at this point, it's not a difficult process. It's like putting Lego together. I think the issue is more that it's not just a matter of buying the plastic box, plug it into your TV, put in discs, or at this point, download games, and there you go. There is a process involved, unless you want to buy a pre-built. And yeah, from that perspective, it's somewhat more difficult. I think we're definitely seeing the PC market grow and expand. If you look at Steam, if you look at the various Steam-alike clones of Steam, they do really well for themselves. If you look at the NPD numbers, they do pretty well for themselves. So yeah, I really don't think we're going to see this become a common thing, because it would probably lead to the demise of maybe one or even both consoles in favor of a more PC-focused system.
Now, just of course speaking to our experience with a lot of other segments of the market, just in technology, the idea of having one device that that does everything is fading away. The idea that what a desktop computer is just isn't really that important anymore, because we have smart TVs for our entertainment. We have smart appliances and smart light bulbs and smart whatever for everything else. Like, the idea that you have niche technology in each slot, I guess, still kind of leads to the idea that it's okay to have a console if that's how you want your gaming to be, kind of centered. So right now, we're both obviously just speculating, but this is a logical first step where Fortnite has crossplay, and then I guess it does kind of give, to me, it shows a little bit of a chink in the armor for Sony, Xbox, everyone, that hey, if there is enough demand, if consumers speak out enough, this is possible. It's just they just really, really, really don't want to do this. So Fortnite today, maybe Destiny tomorrow, and like you said, maybe it won't matter what hardware you're using as long as everyone can play together. And that's a future I think every gamer wants.
Yeah, absolutely. The very foundation of it is we all want to be able to play with whoever we want, regardless of which plastic box they own, or if they're playing on PC or console or whatever. And in a perfect world, we could play with whoever we wanted on whatever platform we wanted: Switch, Xbox, PC, PS4.
Right.
But the market reality states that probably not likely unless it's a hit game like Fortnite.
Absolutely. And, Minecraft was kind of it, but I think Fortnite is, through its free-to-play model, it's really showing that, hey, whatever records that Minecraft broke, Fortnite is going to break even more records, and the future of gaming is very unpredictable, I got to say. But speaking of unpredictable, now just this past weekend, took the family out for lunch, and we were all hungry. We were out running errands, and we went to a popular fast food chain. We went to KFC, and by the way, KFC, way too much salt. But I digress. good chicken. Nothing against them. They know how to, obviously serve a good meal. But yeah, that's obviously what I think of them. I think of KFC as a food chain, a restaurant. You have this article here. I have no idea where you found this, and I have no idea how. Maybe there's so much salt in the KFC, and the board of directors was like, we're getting delirious, but it's okay. We're gonna run with it. Gaming. We're gonna need to make a gaming division because chicken is just too claustrophobic for our horizons. KFC announces a new gaming division. What the heck? How'd you find this?
I was just Googling around for KFC, thinking about how I wanted some chicken, and lo and behold, just looking for some gaming news, something interesting, and here we go. September 28th, KFC gaming is a thing that exists. I think it's a joke, honestly. If you go to twitter.com/KFC gaming, you'll see that it's mostly kind of but yeah, KFC gaming.
Yeah, I mean, KFC has done this before. KFC, let's see, I think one year they put out like a giant inflatable, I don't want to say like bounce house, but they have like a giant inflatable they could do. Another one, like every once in a while they try to do some marketing that they hope goes viral. KFC gaming, I think I saw a picture of like one of their to-go boxes of meals, but it had like 2 controllers, and like essentially you could take all the food out of it, and it had a place where you put your phone and like joysticks on either side, and you could like use the box as like a weird pseudo kind of switch kind of device. I'm glad to hear that it is certainly a kind of a joke kind of deal, kind of a marketing thing, but yeah, I thought that was pretty interesting.
Absolutely. And, if KFC gaming is a real thing and there's actually a team, I'd love to be part of it. Popzara.com, guys, take a look.
Yeah, so, and let's see, a line from the article with the bio for the KFC gaming page stating that it is, quote, your chicken wing man for all those victory royales. It's going to be finger-licking good. Obviously, their slogan. So, yep, obviously they're nice little, shout out to marketing and that kind of thing. And hey, I think if nothing else, this does relate to what we were just talking about with Fortnite. Fortnite's so popular that even KFC is looking to cash in on, obviously, victory royales, Fortnite Battle Royale. It's a, nudge at that. Yeah, hey, if nothing else, shows that Fortnite really is huge if it makes KFC want to put out some products related to it. So, okay, that was just a little aside. Obviously, KFC not going to be putting out the next best title. I don't think it's going to be Assassin's Creed KFC anytime soon. I think that'd be entertaining, but there's that. Okay, speaking of developers and people making video games, things like that, since you were last on, Cory, Telltale Games. They are a developer. They obviously developed a lot of very, very good games, story-driven RPG. They had their own style of games, which a lot of people kind of claimed that they milked, that they beat to death. The Wolf Among Us, the Walking Dead series. I'm sure I'm forgetting some more. They had a very, I believe they did like the Tales from the Borderlands as well. But, yeah, they had like a very cel-shaded, story-driven, Clemson will remember that, or, Clementine will remember that kind of deal. They made very good games. But since you were last on, Cory, they folded. And they folded in a very dramatic way. That, to say that we didn't see coming is one thing, but from the story, and I believe I have, and I have a link to GameSpot, who did a nice little timeline of events here. But if we didn't see it coming, the fact that the employees of the company were called into a meeting and said that they were being let go that day, hundreds, I think like 250 some odd employees of the game were brought into, I assume, a large conference room and said, everyone, you're fired, leave the premises in 30 minutes, come back for your stuff on Monday, and you've been paid through the end of the day, and yeah, good luck, go file for unemployment. I mean, it was dramatic. So Telltale Games, I thought a lot of people liked their games. And do you have any, sense about what happened here, or did you see this coming? What happened with Telltale Games?
So a whole lot of words have been spent on this by people who are way, way more involved with it than I am. Mm-hmm. I don't know if I have much to add to the story itself. We can probably put a link to the show notes. It'll be right there. Definitely better than I would be at explaining it. But I want to make a couple points about it because it's relevant.
Sure.
The first point I want to make is, as you say, we had no idea this was coming. We had no idea this was coming. We were expecting the final episode of Walking Dead. We were expecting Stranger Things. We thought there might be more Minecraft, a sequel to Wolf Among Us, all these great Telltale series that everybody knows and loves. And all of a sudden, literally out of nowhere, while the season pass for Walking Dead was still on sale, we hear that Telltale has folded. And without making any judgments on whether or not, it should have happened, or if it's good or bad that it happened, or the fate of the employees, what I'm concerned about is this. Mm-hmm. How much do we really know about the industry? How much do we actually know about the industry if these things can happen, the collapse of a significant studio like this? If this can come out of nowhere, just blindside everybody. Every single person who's giving their money to this industry is taken aback by the collapse of this company.
It really shows, and sorry to jump in here, but it really shows that, let's take a developer like Nintendo. They had a bad couple of years. And, if you read into the article, the CEO said that, it was an incredibly difficult year, filled with insurmountable challenges for Telltale. I mean, 1 year and a whole developer that has a number of award-winning games and, very successful financially games. They, 1 year and they fold, as opposed to something like a Nintendo that's been around for 100 years. They have an entire console generation of bad years, and they keep chugging. Like you say, what do we know about the industry? It looks like, as far as, a lot of these big names that we rely on for our video games, the only constant are Microsoft, Sony, and Nintendo, and everything else can just, snap of a finger, just kind of blow up in our faces. This was crazy.
Yeah, exactly. And if you think about it, there's a whole lot of additional things this has to do with this. Like, for example, we get these numbers every month from the NPD. Mm-hmm. People love to look at them and talk about game sales and try to make predictions based on game sales and see if they can determine which way the industry will go and talk about different developers by name as if they know them and so on and so forth. Really get into the idea of being an insider.
Right.
And if this can come out of nowhere and blindside all of us, who's an insider? Nobody. Only people in the industry. And then you go from there. What else are you not being told? What studios are on the verge of collapse right now? What studios are doing well? What games didn't sell as well as we thought? What games sold better than we thought? We have no idea. What this tells me is that the entire concept of this armchair media analyzing, where you look at these game charts, you get excited when the NPD numbers come out, the entire concept is actually kind of its own entertainment product. It's like an add-on product to gaming itself.
Well, and we see that with other fields. Let's take sports. Sports analysts, they can look at someone's career. They can look at their past seasons versus this season. Let's take baseball, for instance. You can see hits, runs, bases, steals, whatever. You gather all these stats and you look at someone and say, here's what we expect. Here's how this team's going to do. Are they going to make it to playoffs? Are they going to do this? And really, it's the same thing, but for the numbers for studios and what they sell. Like, it's a bit of business mixed in with a little bit of luck and magic and soothsaying. But this is a type of entertainment that spans not just video games, but I think every industry. And really, you're just looking at past events trying to predict the future. Which doesn't always work. Obviously, I do think that this particular case was just so weird. But one thing I want to add on to, don't, and I think your point is like, don't buy too much into predictions and things like that, because obviously, everyone, every company, every developer, every single person wants to paint a rosy picture, even if it means outright lying in a lot of cases, or at least omitting the truth. I will say that when it comes to these kinds of events, wow, I totally just lost my train of thought here. It's a business. There we go. I found it again. I picked it back up, folks. We're okay. And we're about to head off into break. I will say, let's see, in about 40 seconds. So I'll make this quick, and then we'll come back, final thoughts, and then we'll move on to the next topic, Corey. But real quick, this is a business. And in the article, they have some quotes here from the board of directors and the CEO, not the developer or not the people who code the games or voice the games. They said, we have an obligation to our investors and our shareholders. We needed to pay them. Like, essentially, this seems like the business side completely overshadowed the art side. And it happens often. But everyone, music, Corey, we'll be right back. More Popzara, more games. Everyone, stay tuned right after this.
Greece is cheap.
But the airfare costs a fortune.
Paris?
Not much closer, and again, airfare...
What about Puerto Vallarta?
Let's face it, flying anywhere is just too expensive.
Wait, what's this? Low-cost airlines.
With one call to low-cost airlines, you'll drastically slash your travel costs. We're talking insanely low airline prices to any of your favorite destinations. Where would you like to go? London, Rome, Costa Rica, Australia?
Wow, that's cheap.
So why wait? Call now to learn how crazy cheap it is to fly anywhere in the U.S. or international. Our prices are so low, we can't publish them. The only way to get them is to call to instantly hear the most amazing best deals on airline travel. It's that easy. So call now and start packing.
800-215-4461. 800-215-4461. 800-215-4461. That's 800-215-4461.
We are all Brother Wolf. 10 years ago, a group of locals banded together to create positive change. We took animals into our homes, held adoption events at local retailers, and talked to the community about our mission to help build a no-kill Asheville. A decade later, we have achieved so many victories for animals in need. There's been so much progress, yet there's still so much to do. As part of our year-long celebration, we encourage you to become a member of our special Compassionate Circle program. With a monthly donation of $10 or more, you will have behind-the-scenes access to the work we are doing at Brother Wolf. Our goal is to reach 1,000 members because we receive no government funding. Working together, we can help build and sustain no-kill communities. Learn more at compassionatecircle.bwar.org. We are a 501c3 tax-deductible organization.
And welcome back, everyone. Gamer Tuesday, obviously 32 minutes past the hour. If you missed any part of our conversation so far, which has been actually very enjoyable. I actually do like talking about video games, not just playing them, but obviously, hey, I think playing them is also a very fun part. But as I was saying before the break, podcasts, wherever podcasts are heard, iTunes, Google Play, iHeartRadio, so on and so forth. Full links at computeramerica.com. But Corey, thank you for continuing on with us. And as I said right before the break, I'll let you have kind of the last word on this. But this seemed very directly, no matter how much you enjoy the games, no matter how critically acclaimed they are, no matter what kind of art you think that you're making here, this strictly seems like the business side overshadowed the art side. And, even the CEO just said, after 10 years, our investors came calling and we had to liquidate.
Yeah, absolutely.
So,
video games are a business. They're not a charity. That's just how it works. If that's just how things are. I do want to make a second point.
Sure, go
which
ahead.
is this. As I mentioned, we know very little about what actually happened here, the causes behind it. We didn't see it coming. What we are seeing is a whole lot of sympathy for the people who were laid off.
Yeah.
I want to make 2 points about this. Number one, crowdfunding. Thanks to crowdfunding, having a well-known name in the game industry can get you paid. The other point I want to make is that the games industry, very incestuous. I feel like we're going to see a lot of these people who were laid off very rapidly find homes in other studios. They'll find work quickly. What does that mean for new blood coming into the industry, though?
I mean, obviously, if you're just trying to get your start, there are places. Actually, I'd take it back. If you're just trying to get your start, unfortunately, a lot of video games, because it is a business, they outsource a lot of the menial tasks to places such as India and whatnot. Basic animations. Obviously, things like voiceover work and art and storyboarding and things like that stay here, but the very basic entry-level jobs are unfortunately outsourced. I guess you're getting at, it's kind of hard to break into an industry where the veterans are so fluid that, they're always taking every available job.
I'm not sure if they take every available job. I think it's kind of alarmist, but I do feel like people tend to circulate through the industry, and I guess that's how most industries are. If you have made a name for yourself, you'll get picked up if you get laid off, and I think that's what's going to happen here. I don't think it's a bad thing. I think that we need to keep in mind again that games are a business, that sometimes games don't sell, that I can't really speak much to Telltale Games, but I do know that based on what we've seen, they haven't sold since Borderlands, maybe? They haven't sold well for years now. I've seen a lot of people speculating as to why. Again, I didn't play them. Maybe you have and can elaborate. But yeah,
some people claim that the games that they put out, compared to The Wolf Among Us, Tales from Borderlands, obviously The Walking Dead, Minecraft series, they said that, and obviously this is just people talking on the internet, so grain of salt. They said that they oversaturated their own market. You can have a very good story-driven, kind of choice, your choices matter type of story, but really, how many times do you play that same formula and say this formula is still good? Like, even if it's choose A, B, or C, and it's a different skin, be it a Walking Dead skin or a Borderlands skin or whatever, or a werewolf skin. How many times do you play that and say I'm still having fun? And I think a lot of people claim that Telltale Games just didn't innovate on itself, and they oversaturated their own market. So take it with a grain of salt, but that's what I heard when it comes to their games.
Right. Well, there you have it. Then really, it's dead. The other thing about the industry, when there is a genre like this, and Telltale Games were really a genre. They made a very specific kind of game, as you say, and they made it repeatedly with different skins slapped on.
Yeah.
When a void is left like this, somebody else will show up to fill it, guaranteed.
And it's probably going to be Fortnite. I will say, though, that they said that they're working with a couple different partners to, obviously, they still own the IP. They said that they're still looking to bring out The Walking Dead, the final season, like, the final resolution to Clementine's story. So obviously a lot of people were questioning that. Some people were outraged, although I guess you could just say some people were outraged, and you're going to find someone who's going to fit the bill. They're worried.
I know that I personally would definitely miss the finale of the story of Clemson. It'd be really sad.
Right. Yeah, and they're looking into partners that might still come out. Other people were miffed about something that you said way at the beginning of this article, which had to do with the fact that they were still selling products and still selling season passes when they just folded immediately. That's also kind of devious and hurts consumer goodwill. That, hey, pay for this, you're good. You're good to go for next expansion, and turns out, hey, we're closing 24 hours later. They probably should have been more transparent about that. But regardless, you can get your refund, and hey, Telltale Games. They're just, like you said, a lot of the talent's going to bleed into other developers, or So I'm not too worried about it. It's unfortunate, but it was just surprising. That's why it kind of made the news. Okay. There's that one. Cory, I've been selfish. I've been, going from topic to topic as I see fit. I'll go ahead and let you decide new game or topic or anything catch your eye.
Let's talk about a new game. I love doing this.
Sure.
Haven't played this one yet, but really got me excited. I actually have a copy installed right now. I was just Looking forward to it. Mega Man 11 is out today.
Oh, Mega Man, and just as a personal one, like Mega Man, I played a lot when I was younger, and then there hit this lull where I just didn't hear anything about Mega Man. And we've had other people on the show talk about why that is. Between licensing deals and video games and cartoons. I mean, Mega Man hit this lull, but I guess in the past couple of years, it's had this, I guess, kind of underground resurgence where if you like Mega Man, there's new Mega Man stuff coming out, and you're pretty happy about it. So, Mega Man 11, I'm sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, Mega Man 11, new game in the series, and Capcom was in a bad way for a while. Much like, again, we don't know anything about the industry, all we know is what we're told. From my perspective, it looked like Capcom wasn't doing well a couple years ago. They brought out Street Fighter V, game was a mess. Just wasn't a good time. DMC, Devil May Cry, didn't do so well. It just, really thought Capcom was on their way out. Hadn't seen a new Mega Man game in actual years. Here we are today, 2018, brand new Mega Man game. Mega Man 11 has come out. Interesting points about this one, too. Mega Man games are kind of known for doing the same thing over and over again. This one's doing something new. You've got speed up, power up options for Mega Man you can use whenever. He changes forms when he switches weapons. It's a lot of really cool stuff. It has this new art style, looks fantastic in motion. You got to see it to believe it.
We're actually showing it on the video portion. I mean, it's obviously Mega Man was one of the most iconic kind of pixel art related games that you can think of, but now it's like this kind of 3D. I don't want to say cell shaded, but 3D animated. Looks good, but it's obviously still a side scroller.
Right, absolutely. It looks good. Presumably it plays good. I played the demo. It feels pretty solid. It feels like Mega Man. My big thing, though, is not even so much that. It's the fact that we are seeing a new entry in this series after so long. They're bringing stuff back. It wasn't even a cash-in. I kind of felt like Mega Man 9 and 10. They turned out to be good games. When I first saw them, I was like, this looks like a ROM hack. Why did they make this? Mega Man 11, beautiful-looking new game. Looks like it'll be fun. Means there could be more Mega Man. Means there could be more Mega Man X. That's what I'm really excited about.
Yeah, I certainly hope, because these IPs, they do have a lot of, I think anyone who's over a certain age, they think Mega Man, and they have good memories of Mega Man. It obviously kind of fell out of favor, but this game that you're showing, I mean, this obviously, kind of side scroller, boss fights, point and shoot, that has also kind of fallen out of favor, but I don't think it'll ever completely go away. And if you have a good entry into that field with a very recognizable name like Mega Man, this could do very well. Is it out? Let's see. It's available for PS, Xbox, Nintendo Switch, PC. Available for all platforms. When is this going to be released?
It's out right now. You can buy it.
Even better. I heard you say you played the demo, but looks very, very good. Let's see, if you care at all about user ratings, 98% of people like this game who actually purchased it and tried it. I mean, those are some darn good positive reviews. So, very, very cool. I hope to see more Mega Man in the future.
Absolutely.
Very, very cool. Let's go ahead, cap off our new games that you kind of have listed here. This last one, Forza. And not just any Forza, but Forza Horizon 4. I remember seeing the demo out at E3. They promised a lot. And really, Forza, for a game that has been about, kind of realism when it comes to car racing, that kind of thing. For Forza Horizon 4, to me, honestly, looked like a very, very solid tech demo for Xbox, PlayStation, whatever. It looked like a great tech demo that you could race cars with your friends, do time trials, world events, really highlighted the social aspects of it, the open, the quote unquote open world of it. I mean, it was a different take on Forza. So you included it here in the show notes. Forza Horizon 4. What do you think?
I mentioned it specifically for one significant reason. And that reason is Microsoft Game Pass. See, Game Pass, you drop I think it's $10 a month, and you get access, I'm not even joking here, you get access to Forza Horizon 4 today, the day it comes out, for your $10 subscription. Instead of paying $60 to keep the game, you pay your $10 subscription, you get Forza 4, you get a huge number of other games. You get Sea of Thieves, you get Recore, you get Gears 4, you get pretty much everything great that first party Microsoft has put out for the past several years for $10 a month.
Yeah, I'm seeing here Halo Wars are included, and even Halo Wars 2. I mean, Microsoft putting out a Game Pass. That's obviously what you're kind of getting at, and not just not just new releases, but I believe they're also including a lot of backwards compatibility, which they've put a lot of effort into. I remember when Microsoft made Modern Warfare 2, Call of Duty Modern Warfare 2, backwards compatible, which was one of the best. And honestly, I put my hundreds of hours into Modern Warfare 2 as well. When they backwards compatible things, they play really well. We see a resurgence in popularity of that game. I mean, Microsoft Game Pass. Our Game Pass is something that people should start taking notice of instead of just, what game is coming out. Oh, that one, kind of deal. Like subscription services to games, is that going to become more of a thing?
I don't know if it'll become more of a thing. I'm inclined to say probably. I mean, it kind of works into another issue that's coming up in games a lot, which is streaming. There's this idea that maybe we'll start using streaming to replace the need to buy a console or to build a fancy PC. And in that case, yeah, maybe dropping your $10 to have access to games that you could stream, it's a great idea. As it stands, your $10 for Game Pass is absolutely something you should look into. Even if you just have a PC, it's got a vast collection of games on the PC that you can play with Game Pass. If you have an Xbox, there's no question, you should have Game Pass.
Right. Looks like the standard version, although obviously the differences between standard, deluxe, and ultimate will generally just be, in-game cosmetics and things like that. The core gameplay is not supposed to change from one tier to the next. But that's very interesting that you brought that up, because I think obviously that does segue into Google and their new Stream service. Like, it's called literally Stream. And this is something that we saw from, there was a publisher a little while, I would say, like GameFly used to sell, or not sell, but rent you games, $10 a month. You could rent out kind of like old Netflix style, any game you wanted, and you could have like one or two games out at a time. And then they purchased another company that did streaming, where you could you run on their servers, their hardware, and you stream it to your PC, so you could have a moderate PC and play high-end gaming. I believe that folded. It didn't do too well. The technology just wasn't there a couple of years ago. But now with this entry in this article from Mashable, Google's Project Stream will be huge for PC gaming. Talk about the implications of streaming video games, and talk about the implications of someone the size of Google. Obviously, they have a lot of networking capability. They run a lot of their own services. They have a lot of servers, things like that. Talk about the implications of streaming and Google getting into the video game streaming market.
Well, it's Google. I mean, whenever Google wants to do something, they do it, and they do it well, straight up. Except maybe the AR glasses. We don't talk about those. But when it comes to streaming, from what I've seen of Project Stream, it looks pretty good. I mean, certainly it looks better than a lot of the other solutions we've seen. OnLive, Purple Sky, I believe was what it was called. There's been a lot of people trying to do this. OnLive probably was one of the first ones way back when. The issue, of course, is that if you're streaming, there's going to be some input lag, and that basically kills games. Not a problem if you're watching movies or television or whatever, listening to music. That's whatever. You don't have any. There's no input. Games, big issue. So if Google can reach the point where you can play games over stream, and they look great, and there's little to no input lag, well, there you go. Problem solved. We have our replacement for both consoles and PCs at that point as far as gaming goes, pretty much. Do I think that's going to be the case? We'll see. Everybody likes to talk about disruption and changing the industry, and this is the new big thing because there's a lot of money in being the new big thing. So do I know if this is the case? Hard to say. Really need to see it for myself, play it for myself, see it with other games as well.
Whenever I talk to people who come on the show with a new product, a new service that they claim is going to completely blow the market up, disrupt everything, you always have to ask, what's changed? What's different? And if that answer comes back to, oh, well, we're just going to do it better, or we're just going to do it differently, it's like, that's not good enough. There has to be a literal reason that you are going to succeed where others have failed. And I think what Google is trying to do that's different than everyone else is the fact that, first of all, they're a huge company. They're a huge freaking company. There's no way around it. They have a lot more money to throw at this problem and try to get it really, licked. The other one is the fact that internet connections have just plain gotten better. I know that the average American household speed is up to, I think, 30 megabits per second since I last checked. A lot of people have access to 50 or higher download. The upload speed's still a bit of a problem, but not as big as download, because obviously you will be ingesting all of that data and then you will be sending back simply your inputs, hopefully in as real time as possible. So internet connection has gotten much better, which leads a project like this actually having the hardware to be successful. I'm reading on their website here, you have to have an internet connection capable of 25 megabits per second. And when I read that, I first think that's not even the minimum. Like, that's well below the minimum, because 25 megabits per second, let's say you live in a household with one or two other people who stream Netflix or, browse online or watch, whatever. I think 25 megabits per second is going to have to be your dedicated segment of your incoming internet speed to dedicate to this. So I'm betting this is going to be closer to 50 megabits per second, which I know is not something that every person has, but it's not unheard of, which is awesome. 17 years or older, you can apply on their website. Essentially, the thing I think that makes this possible is the fact that everyone has better internet, and it's Google. They can actually throw around the capital and not, kind of cheap out, because the experience that you're going to get when you play is going to dictate whether or not this is a successful idea at the moment. Like, eventually, this is going to work. This is going to be how games are played. It makes zero sense, way at the beginning. Cory, you and I were talking about consoles, PCs, which one's going to win, or, what happens when you buy your own. What if you never even have to buy your own? What if it doesn't matter what hardware you run? Everything looks flawless, amazing, perfect, and you simply just play it. That is an even better demand, I think, that everyone is going to get behind. So this is going to be successful. It's just, can Google make it successful today? And that's a big if.
The other if with Google, as we know from Google News, Google will do something great, and they'll do it fantastically right up until they decide they don't want to do it anymore. Then they're going to close it down and it's just gone. So let's hope, number one, that it does well. Number two, that it's profitable enough that Google wants to keep it around. Otherwise, you'll wake up one day and poof, no more Project Stream.
Yeah, hey, that's as we said before with Telltale Games, it's still a business. And although another part that does give me hope is that Amazon, you may know them. Speaking of which, Amazon, kudos are given to to our corporate overlords. They raised everyone's wages to $15 an hour, so nationwide. Very, very, very cool. But all right, so those kudos aside, Amazon, big competitor to Google, because Amazon runs their own Amazon Web Services. They invested heavily in Twitch. So when it comes to video game and putting in the capital and actually making something that they're willing to kind of stick with, even if profits immediately are not seen, maybe Google. And I know they have YouTube Gaming to kind of compete with Twitch, which has not been as successful. But it at least shows that these big tech companies are not afraid of video games, and they're willing to put some money into services that cater to that kind of market. So that gives me a bit of hope too, that, they aren't going to be afraid that, profits year one are not there. Let's keep it going for a little bit and see, if we can make this work. So I'm hoping that gives it a bit more of a foundation to start off on. I hope Project Stream becomes a really big thing, because as much as I love computers, if I didn't have to upgrade my PC every 2 years to keep up with the latest and greatest video games, that would be a huge money saver, I think, for a lot of people, not just myself, but people who upgrade their hardware. And it would really be disruption in this market.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, that's the reason we all keep talking about it. It's the reason we one day hope to see it, but we'll see how it goes.
Absolutely. Okay, so we're going to go ahead, leave Google there, leave them to do their own thing. In these last couple of minutes, we have a couple not video game, but kind of video game related or entertainment related. Since I heard you watching the trailer before the show, I recommend everyone else out there will include a trailer in the show notes. This is a new movie that's coming out this December. I think it's going to be released to theaters worldwide, but Spider-Man, obviously with Marvel, the Avengers, everything like that, Spider-Man has never been hotter. It's a good time to be Spider-Man. Now, I don't think that this is cashing in on it, but it does kind of take Spider-Man back to its roots. Comic book, it's funny, it's cheeky. There's a new trailer out called Into the Spider-Verse, and I wanted your reaction from that. Just what'd you think? Obviously, 2-3 minute trailer. As I said, everyone out there should go see it, but I thought it looked really cute. It looked like a kind of a fun take on Spider-Man, which I'm not saying Spider-Man wasn't fun before, but hey, it looks like they made it even more so.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it got this kind of stop motion animation thing going on. Looks fantastic. Looks like a lot of fun. I personally don't really see a lot of superhero movies, but I might consider seeing this one, I suppose.
It's and they even included, I think everyone out there should definitely check it out, Spider-Ham. I don't know how canon he is within the comic book series, but it does include a couple of Spider-Men if you follow the comic books in the Spider-Verse. There's, of course, the new Spider-Man. There's the Peter, the older Peter Parker. There's Gwen Stacy, who was like, Spider-Girl or whatever. It's as if someone else were bitten by the spider. I believe they have another instance of, Peter Parker being born as a girl instead of a boy. And Spider-Ham, which is indeed a pig, a talking, walking pig who is his universe's Spider-Man. It's again affectionately known as Spider-Ham. It looked fun. I'm definitely looking forward to that one. I hope that a lot of people find a lot of enjoyment and realize that Marvel puts a very serious kind of front to their movies, but hopefully this one says it's okay to be goofy. Not Deadpool goofy, but just goofy for the sake of goofy. So there's that one. Okay. There's that. So I'm going to bring that to everyone's attention. I think the last one, and this is, I don't know if you had a chance to glance over the article, but Netflix. A lot of content. Don't need to explain who they are. But something that is going to be different is that they are thinking of bringing out a choose-your-own-adventure movie, and they said that in an upcoming episode of Black Mirror, which is set to release in December, where you actually get to, I guess for one of the first times, interact with your Netflix viewing experience. This is not the future of Netflix. This is not the future of television. But do you think that this is interesting, Corey?
I think I was playing something like this back when I was a kid on DVD. I think there was even a Pokemon themed one.
And the latest in this genre that I've heard of, there was, let's see, I think it's like Super Seducer, I think, is a game that kind of follows this. They record tons of video. They do lots of dialogue, lots of voices, and they give you these points where, you choose A, B, or C, and a pre-recorded outcome then follows. And it leads to, it leads to the person starting the adventure, choosing A, watching, kind of playing how they want to, and then they go back and watch it a second time and wonder what happens if I make the complete opposite choices. It's a very interesting format. I'm just, kind of wondering from you, what do you think about Netflix doing this? It seems like they're trying different things other than just straight up video.
Did you say Super Seducer?
I think that's the name of it. Super Seducer. You have not heard of that? I'm taking Super Seducer 2 was just released a little while ago on Steam.
Have you played these? What?
I've watched them. I do not play Super Seducer. I watch them because they're very tongue in cheek. It's obviously it's a way to, or it's the gentleman's way of who makes them. It's his way of kind of teaching, I guess, people who may not have the social skills, it was kind of his way to say, here's how you talk to women. I don't know if it works. I do not claim that this is the best way to interact with women. It was just a type of video game. And it was different, and it is along the same lines. Again, interesting all around, and it sounds like you're kind of on the fence about this.
Again, like I said, this is not a really new concept. In fact, I think back in the day, they actually piloted doing this with actual movies in the theater. You would, you'd have.
I remember
buttons in
that they
your
were going to
armrest.
crowdsource it. Yeah, and they're
Yes.
like, yeah, I remember that. But
So in terms of a new idea, I don't really think it really is. My wonder, or rather, what I'm wondering about is how do you interact with it exactly? Like what? There's different platforms Netflix is on.
Yeah, I'm betting a touch button on touchscreen or mouse and click on it on a computer. Obviously, not something super passive you're going to put on in the background. This is going to be an experience. But Cory, music is playing in the background. We're just about done. If people want to find out more, where's the best place to go to find you, your work, and your musings?
If you would like to read some game reviews, you go to popzara.com. We do game reviews, we do interviews, we talk about tech, we talk about the industry. It's great. If you want to read something more personal, maybe a little bit more narrative, you maybe want to go to the Well-Read Mage. That's THEWELLREDMAGE.com. I have a column there. Been on hiatus for a bit. We're bringing it back soon. Go take a look. It's wonderful stuff.
Very, very cool. Thank you for saying that. And everyone, thank you for tuning into Computer America. We're about done here. Catch us again tomorrow where we have Mike Cermak. And everyone, have a great day. Thank you so much. Bye, everyone.